All right, today we are breaking down something called PESTLE analysis. It's a really powerful but simple framework that helps basically any organization, big or small, get a handle on the crazy, chaotic world that's happening all around it. The best way to think of it? It's like a strategic compass, and we're going to learn exactly how to use it.
So here's our game plan. We're going to start by talking about the huge challenge every business faces. Then we'll define what PESTLE analysis actually is. After that, we'll dive deep into each piece of the puzzle with some real-world examples. Then we'll see it in action and talk about how you can use this as your very own strategic compass.
Okay, first things first. Let's just set the stage and look at this fundamental problem that literally every single organization has to deal with when it's trying to look ahead.
I mean, this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? If you're a leader, you're constantly getting hit with things from the outside. New government rules, a crazy shift in the economy, you name it. And it's all stuff that is completely outside of your control. So how on earth do you even start to make a plan when so much is up in the air?
Well, that is exactly where our tool for today comes in. It is designed specifically to bring some order to all that chaos and to give you a clear, structured way to understand all those outside forces.
So pest analysis, it's not some new fad. It's actually been around since the 1960s, and its real power is just how simple it is. It gives you a structured way to scan the big picture, the whole macro environment, by focusing on four key areas. That's political, economic, social, and technological.
But, of course, the world got more complicated. As new pressures started popping up, the framework grew into what we now call PESTLE, adding two really critical new dimensions: legal and environmental, which gives you a much more complete view of what's going on in the market.
Okay, so theory is great, but how do we actually use this thing? Let's roll up our sleeves and break down those original four factors, P-E-S-T, one by one. First up, we've got P for political. This category is all about how government and political stuff in general can completely shape the playing field for an organization.
And this isn't just about who wins an election. We're talking about things like how stable the government is, what the tax policies look like, are there trade barriers, new labor laws. All these things can create massive new opportunities, or they can become pretty significant risks.
And here's where it gets really interesting, because you can see it in the real world. In this analysis for Ireland's national health strategy, they pointed out that a surprise early election could totally upend their policy priorities and their funding. Even something like the public thinking management is top-heavy becomes a political factor that can erode trust and slow things down.
Next up, E for economic. These are the factors that hit a company's bottom line directly and influence all of its biggest decisions.
So here we are tracking the big stuff, inflation, interest rates, what the job market looks like, currency rates, and just overall economic growth. All of these things really dictate how much money people have to spend and how expensive it is for a company to borrow money.
And this just perfectly shows the real-world impact. The Irish healthcare system flagged that supply chain problems from COVID were causing budget overruns, super high inflation was creating pressure for pay raises, and a major housing crisis was actually making it tough to hire people in the cities. You see, these aren't just numbers on a chart. They have real, tangible consequences.
All right, let's move on to S, social factors. This part is all about the cultural and demographic shifts happening inside a society.
So this is where we analyze things like how the population is changing. Are people getting older? As well as shifting consumer attitudes, lifestyle trends, and cultural values. These are the forces that really shape what people buy, where they're willing to work, and what they expect from organizations.
Jumping back to our healthcare example, a key social factor is that Ireland's population is aging, and that directly means a higher demand for healthcare services. At the same time, the huge shift to remote work meant they had to completely rethink their health and safety rules. And the arrival of a new refugee population added even more pressure on their services.
And the last of our original four is T for technological. And let me tell you, technology can be the ultimate game changer, wiping out old industries and creating massive new opportunities seemingly overnight.
This bucket covers the whole shebang, from R&D and the rise of automation, to just the breakneck speed of technological change, and all the new ways we have to talk to each other and distribute products. Staying ahead of this curve is absolutely critical.
And the case study really drives home that technology is a double-edged sword. The fast pace of digital change means you need to make huge investments. New, better medical technologies are often way too expensive to offer to everyone, And of course, the more digital data you have, the bigger the risk from cyber threats.
So that's PEST. But to really get the complete picture, the analysis got an upgrade, adding 2 more super important areas. And that's how we get to PESTLE.
And those 2 additions are L for legal, which covers the specific laws and regulations you have to follow, like consumer protection, and E for environmental, which looks at big issues like climate change, pollution, and that huge push for sustainable, green practices. Put it all together, and you get a true 360-degree view.
So we've defined all the pieces. Now let's connect it all back and see how this framework is actually used in a real high-stakes strategic document.
Now, this is what I think is so cool. All of those case study examples we've been walking through, they were pulled directly from this PESTLE analysis, right inside the official implementation plan for Ireland's national health strategy. This just goes to show you, this is not some academic exercise. It's a tool that's used to make huge nation-level decisions. Now, a quick but really important point. You've probably heard of a SWOT analysis. It's crucial to know how PESTLE is different. The key is focus. PESTLE looks only at the external big picture world. A SWOT analysis looks both externally at opportunities and threats and internally at a company's own strengths and weaknesses. You could say PESTLE gives you the context for your strategy.
So let's bring it all home. How does this framework become a powerful strategic compass for pretty much anyone?
You know, this quote really nails it. At the end of the day, the framework helps you truly understand the world that you're operating in. It guides your planning, and it lets you make smart, informed decisions instead of just reacting to whatever happens next. It basically turns chaos into a structured map of what's really going on. So, I'll leave you with this final thought to take away with you. What are the external forces shaping your world right now? Whether you're thinking about your industry, your company, or even just your own career path, what are the key political, economic, social, technological, legal, and environmental factors that you really need to be paying attention to?